Hey there, welcome to ready.set.jam, a game design competition where we bring together a group of game creators to compete in a series of game-making challenges. Over 3 rounds, they'll create projects that will be played and rated by the community and our panel of judges. At the end of each round, the contestant with the lowest score will be excused from the competition until there's only one dev left. The first round was the classic game round, where our devs had to recreate or reimagine a classic video game, but with a twist. This time, the game they had to make was Snake, and the twist was Shop. If you missed that episode, there's a card up top for you to check it out. But for a quick refresher, let's jump in, meet our devs, and see what they made. Salman is a game dev creating work as Decennimo Games, making a variety of games on many different platforms, mainly showing the progress and projects on Twitter. In the first round, Salman made Honey, I Crashed Into Trees, an extremely tough to control collection game that has the player traveling through a level collecting trees while avoiding saw blades. The judges liked the game, but unfortunately, the idea that returning the trees was selling them didn't quite read well as the twist for Shop. But with everything else being so well done, it took second place for the round. Spherous is a game dev, Twitch streamer, and video creator, live streaming work on different projects, game jams, shader creation, and more, while helping other game devs by answering questions and making tutorials. In the last round, Spherous made Cart Caddy, taking an unexpected approach to the shop twist by having you play as a store's cart return machine collecting shopping carts from a parking lot while avoiding the insane drivers in their cars. As more carts are collected, the train becomes longer and slower. Dropping off the carts will reset your size and speed to keep collecting. All the elements of the game fit together really well for a fun experience, giving Cart Caddy the first place spot in round 1. Now, I do unfortunately have to inform you that our third contestant, Barji, sadly had to drop out of the competition at the beginning of round 2. Their college workload picked up more than they expected, and unfortunately they just aren't able to handle this and that at the same time. Barji felt awful about it, but sometimes that's just life. There's nothing you can do about it. Our devs are kind enough to donate their time and their talents for us to enjoy. But life should always come first, especially when it comes to school. We're sad to see you go, and we wish you the best of luck. Now, while this is unfortunate, we do still have 2 extremely talented game devs left that are here and ready to go. So, let's get into round 2, which we call the scope creep round, and see what we have. In game development, scope creep is the concept where after the project has begun, elements and ideas are added into the game which increase the amount of work that needs to be done and change it from its initial structure. Sometimes you don't get to choose whether or not you want to add something to your game, and that's what we're simulating here. Our designers will have to take the game they made in the first round and add in one of these 3 scope creep challenges. The winner of the first round will choose which one they both have to use, and Spherous has chosen Protected. So that's the challenge set. Our designers will now have 24 hours over the next week to update their game however they like and add in the concept of Protected. Let's see how they do.
So guessing from the judges' responses, I didn't get away with saying that hashing in your trees in the middle of the screen, yeah, it didn't count as a shop, I guess. So I thought I'll try to make it more obvious with the second round version of this game. And the solution I came up with without having to add an extra input or anything was trying to make it timed. So after 30 seconds or less or more, you go to the shop, you transition into the shop instantly. And I hope that they enjoy that. I tried to use the shop as a way to give like a little narrative to the game, where I just made sure that there was an ending by just saying you paid off your debt if you continue playing the game on and on, if anyone can even last that long. When it comes to things that I was happy with from the game, was the visual hook, was it the juice, like the particle effects, the sound effects really brought everything together, and sticking with the whole one input thing really helped to steer the direction of the game. I just wish I had enough time to improve the feeling of the controls. Like, I've made a similar controlled game before and it did not feel as finicky as this game does for me right now.
Having felt already pretty good about the game that I made in round 1, round 2 gave us the scope creep of Protected. And the only direction I could really go with that I felt would be fun, would be to add a shield that the player could use to bounce off of the walls and the cars to help protect them throughout the course of the game. It's a situational shield, and it doesn't work if you get hit from behind, so you have to think and be purposeful in how you use it. The amount of carts that you return increases the length of time that you have the shield, so staying out longer and taking bigger risks will give you better protection once you bank your points. I didn't have enough time to kind of implement different car types, so I simply provided different parking spots, and cars would randomly just choose which spot they parked in. So sometimes they might park in a handicap spot or an EV spot, and that kind of makes it seem like they are handicapped or EV cars. One of the major bits of feedback that I had received throughout playtesting it before submitting it was that when carts were kind of blocked from being able to be collected, such as up against the edge of the map or near another car, it got a little frustrating thinking that you should be able to collect it, but you couldn't. So I wanted to make it so if you bumped into these carts, they would kind of get pushed somewhere and maybe end up in a better position. But I unfortunately just didn't have the time to make the physics that go behind that. I learned a lot throughout the process of making this game, and I think overall the game came out really fun, and I'm rather happy with the results.
Alright, the build time is up and the games have been submitted. It's time to send them off to our judges to rate and play. Each round is scored by 5 judges in 6 categories: art, audio, feel, originality, fun, and overall. The judges will be myself as well as my community. During the judging time frame, anyone on my Twitch or Discord was able to go, play, and rate the games. All community ratings are then averaged into one judge vote. That judge vote is then combined with mine as well as our 3 special guest judges. Wallaber, an incredible game dev, video creator, and Twitch streamer who is the lead designer on a little game you may have heard of called Where's My Water, as well as many others. Wallaber has also released games like Pro Gymnast, the Switch game Very Very Valet, and is currently rebooting their popular mobile game Jellycar into Jellycar World. Games Plus James is an awesome game dev and content creator focused on making tutorial courses for Unity teaching a wide variety of skills. James has also released a game called Scoot Kaboom and the Tomb of Doom, which is an adorably frustrating precision platformer that all takes place on one large screen. Polymars is a fantastic game dev and video creator here on YouTube making all kinds of projects, like making a Game Jam game work on 5 different consoles, or creating games with bot APIs to work on platforms like Twitter and Discord. Thank you to the judges for taking time out of their schedules to play, rate, and give feedback. Now, let's see what they have to say. The protected scope creep was already pretty much included in Honey, I Crashed Into Trees. You collect trees that trail behind your car, and once you have them, you need to protect them from the saw blades that are flying around the level by bringing them to the sensor to sell. This time, instead of a timer that counts up to track how long you've been able to stay alive, the timer now counts down. When it reaches 0, the round ends and you're presented with a shop where you can spend the money that you've made by selling the trees. The end goal of the game is to pay off your debts for $1,000, but that could take a while if you don't buy the other upgrades like increasing tree spawning, less saw time, and longer round times. Not much changed in the art from round 1. The shop has a really nice look to it and is very consistent with the rest of the game. The judges still all love the pseudo 3D style and effects, although Wallaber found it difficult to play for too long with how hyperactive the camera is in terms of zooming in and out. Go! Like round 1, music, sound effects, and voiceover all work well together. I would have loved to have had some sort of audio signal when the round timer was in its last few seconds. Since the timer is part of the level, it's not always on screen when the round is about to end. Feel is tricky since the judges still struggle with the controls quite a bit. The common issue is your car is always moving and turning in a direction. Whenever you press the one button control, the car changes the direction in which it's turning. And when you hold the button, the car dashes in a straight line. The issue the judges are having is it gets really confusing remembering which direction you're going to be turning when you're done using your dash. And strangely, the shop affects the feel in a positive and negative way. Positively, it gives you a goal to shoot for, as well as helping you feel like you're making progress as you buy different upgrades. Now, unfortunately, it's still a one-hit kill, which means once you take damage, you have to start the entire process over and you lose all of your progress in the shop. Game over. Go! The addition of the round timer is welcome as it gives moments of respite to the tension of keeping the controls in line and avoiding the saws. It also adds a nice hint of a narrative to tie more ideas of the game together. The shop elements are very straightforward and useful, and the idea of a one-button snake is still really interesting. Go! The shop definitely helps the fun, but it also has the side effect of making dying feel much worse, especially if you were pretty far into your progress. Enjoyment of difficult to control games is subjective, but Wallaber would much rather be able to control the game normally and just avoid the saws and collect trees. Overall, the addition of the shop to the game flow really helped the gameplay. The controls are a more personal matter whether you enjoy them or not. Similar to games like QWOP and Getting Over It, the controls are the challenge, and that style of gameplay just may not be for everyone. But all the judges do still agree that the game looks and sounds excellent and is overflowing with polish. Spherous used the Protect It scope creep to address an issue the judges had in round 1, which was that after dropping off the carts in the cart return, your character would shoot back out in the other direction, making it easy to accidentally die if you were still holding the turn button. Now, when returning carts, you exit through the center of the store and gain a shield to protect you. How long the shield lasts is determined by how many carts you returned, giving an incentive to collect more carts before returning them, which was another suggestion from the judges. Beyond that, the general gameplay is the same. The car AI has been reworked to be a bit less murderous, and Spherous also added another parking lot layout, this one having 2 ways to enter and exit, mixing up the flow of traffic. Like the first round, all the judges still really like the art, with James mentioning a bit more inconsistency with pixel density amongst elements, but still agreeing that the shield is instantly understood when first seeing it. There's still no music, which I think would be nice and help the overall feel of the game, and James also felt that the force field was missing a sound effect. The rest of the audio is still solid as it was in the first round. The new AI for the cars, as well as the shield, helps the feel a lot. It helps to remove just randomly dying and creates a bit of strategy around when and how many carts you return. For example, when the lot is full of cars, it makes sense to return carts more quickly to stay safe. But you need to make sure you keep an eye on that timer, giving a good amount of anxious feelings. The scope creep of Protect It is there, and split the judges on how much they saw it. Either way, it was agreed that the shield given to the player after returning the carts was a great choice and added a lot to the game flow. All the judges felt the new changes definitely increased the fun. Along with the shield, the new layout really added a new twist. Cars that can enter or exit on either side of the lot adds new decisions to make because that car that just started can choose to go either way. Overall, the new additions work really well and feel like a natural evolution to the game. They addressed the issues the judges had in the first round and felt like they should have been there all along. And that's the feedback. Again, since we lost Barji this round, there'll be no elimination, which means both Spherous and Salman will be heading into the final round to compete head-to-head to see who will be the ready.set.jam champion. But first, let's see how the voting actually went. And amazingly, after totaling up the scores from each category, for the first time, we have a tie. Both Salman and Spherous received the exact same overall score. For Salman, adding the upgrade shop, rounds, and ending to the game really helped give a reason to keep playing. And for Spherous, adding the shield, new car AI, and a new layout really enhanced the game flow and engagement. Because we already lost a contestant, and the judges had such a great time with both games, we're going to let the tie stand and use the next round to be the ultimate decider. So congratulations to both Spherous and Salman for making great updates to your games. Next up is the final round, a head-to-head game jam challenge where they'll both have 48 hours to make a brand new game with a theme and a restriction. And we'll find out what that theme and restriction is next time on ready.set.jam. Please go check out all our amazing game designers. Links to them as well as our judges are in the description below. I need to thank Gingerbeard4251 and Mr. Boxmonkey for all of their help. Without them, none of this would be happening. If you would like to help support the channel, keep these going and see more, giving the video a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell are all amazing ways to help out. Sharing this video with others you think would like it would also be immensely appreciated. If you would like to go a step further, I have a Patreon where you can directly support these videos, like these awesome people: Chichimon, Cinnabunny, Curdle Games, Baron Earth, Nightfall, Jed, Kevin Halgau, Killboy Gaming, Motzi Makes, Salty Pretzel, Scott Hansen, Soapy Gnome, Straight Up Gruntled, and Warren Stephen Rose. I really can't thank you all enough for the support. If you would like to chat with me, the best place to do that is on my live streams at twitch.tv/Vimlark. We have a super chill community and I would love to talk with you. And we also have a Discord full of even more incredible people. If you've hung around to this point in the video, you're the best. Thank you so much. I'll talk with you next time. Have a good one. Later.